Hello YouTube, TMR here with a review of the Twilight Zone episode, Steel. This is episode 2 of season 5, and it first aired on October 4th, 1963. It was written by Richard Matheson, who's famous for writing I Am Legend, and who also wrote the short story Dance of the Dead, which I actually reviewed on here a few months ago. This episode takes place in the futuristic world of 1974, where prize fighting by humans has been abolished, and now it can only be done by robots. It follows former boxer Steel Kelly, who manages a B-2 robot named Battling Maxo. The other main character in this episode is Kelly's partner, Pole, who is Maxo's mechanic. Kelly and Pole are down on their luck because Maxo is a B-2 robot, which is essentially terribly outdated by the year 1974. The next robot that's about to hit the market is a B-9, and the B-2 looks like a hunk of junk compared to that robot. Now, not only is Maxo outdated, but he's also banged up and he could barely function at this point. He's unable to be fixed because stores don't sell B-2 parts anymore due to a lack of demand. Since Maxo is so outdated by the year 1974, no one wants to see him fight, and he doesn't get booked because he's a B-2. Now, however, a different robot is damaged in transportation to a fight, so a promoter needs somebody to fill in, so he books Maxo. The problem is that Maxo will be fighting a B7, and his name is the Maynard Flash. I just want to say, for the pretty simple prosthetic effects on the actors to make them look like robots, it works really well in my opinion. The Maynard Flash just has really cold, dead eyes, and he just feels like a killing machine. Now, Kelly and Pole get to the fight, but during the pre-fight preparation, Maxo breaks and he's unable to go. Kelly desperately wants the $500 purse from this fight to repair Maxo, so he decides that since no one knows what Maxo looks like, he'll step in the ring and pretend to be him. Now, Pole is really against this idea because he's sure that Kelly's going to get killed by the Maynard Flash, but there's no talking him out of it. So Kelly goes on his way to the ring to fight the Maynard Flash, who's just sitting there looking extremely menacing. I guess I had foolishly expected Kelly to put up some sort of fight, but he just gets absolutely rocked by the Maynard Flash. There's absolutely no competition here. Maybe I forgot that this was just a 20-minute episode and not like a Netflix series where Kelly will go on some Cinderella run and actually start beating these robots. There's going to be absolutely none of that. I know I have to suspend my disbelief because this came out in the 1960s, but you mean to tell me that no one in the crowd can realize that Kelly's a human and not a robot? You know, the Maynard Flash moves in a very stiff manner until he actually starts boxing, which really doesn't make sense in itself. But anyway, just the robot's face looks distinctly different than that of a human. You know, you could tell that it's a robot. And Kelly's also in the ring and he's breathing and he's wincing and he's opening his mouth and he has eyeballs. You know, but no one's able to tell that he's a real human. You know, I'll give it a pass because the episode is almost 60 years old. Yeah, so Kelly gets his clock cleaned by the Maynard Flash and he doesn't even make it out of the first round. And because of this, the promoter only gives him $250 for his near-death effort. Of course, Kelly is still really insistent on using that money to fix up Battling Maxo. So that's the end of the episode, and then we move on to the ending dialogue by Rod Sterling, in which he says, "You can't outpunch machinery, and that no matter what the future brings, man's capacity to rise to the occasion will remain unaltered. His potential for tenacity and optimism continues, as always, to outfight, outpoint, and outlive any and all challenges made by his society." Now, I just can't believe how well the symbolism of this episode and ending dialogue holds up in modern times. You know, it's the future, it's man versus machine, and despite putting everything Kelly has into it, man loses. Man wants to defeat the changes brought on by society, but can he? Look at how many jobs today human beings are losing to machines and artificial intelligence. You have driverless delivery cars, you have Amazon with robots whizzing around its factories, you have McDonald's having self-ordering kiosks, and the list goes on. Are we just a bunch of Steel Kellys waiting to get knocked down? You know, so I really enjoyed this episode, and when I saw it was written by Richard Matheson, I knew that I was in for a treat. And I'm going to give it an A because it has a very interesting story, it has eerie prosthetic effects, and incredibly relevant symbolism. So thank you for tuning into my review of the Twilight episode Steel, and I'll see you next time.